What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050. You can follow me on Instagram at DFS 5050. For my other account, you can follow me at Sean Black. That's SEANBLAQUE. This is a big Wednesday, and we have about 10 or so games, roughly about 10 games. 10 games, and I don't know. It's going to be a lot of goodness going on. There's going to be a lot of sneaky plays going on, and it's just going to be a whole lot of fun. Considering that we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, I've kind of felt like it's better for me to just play more GPPs than to play cash and double ups and stuff like that. I might go into some Quins, but I think most importantly, what I want to do is maybe hit the GPPs a whole lot more, considering that there's a lot of news coming in and out throughout the day. I mean, for some that have not been able to check out the news, Gasol is out, Gordon Hayward is out, DeMarcus Cousins is still questionable, and there's a couple of other news that's out there too that. If you just go to like maybe rotoworld.com and just check out the late breaking news, you'll be able to see some of the plays that may not add any value to your lineups today. In any case, we have a 10-game slate. We have Atlanta, Philly, OKC, Orlando, Charlotte, Toronto, Miami, New York, Milwaukee, Boston, Indiana, Memphis, Dallas, New Orleans, Golden State and San Antonio, Utah and Sacramento, Washington and Los Angeles. So as you can see here, there's not a lot of high over-under games. The two main ones that are looking very interesting is the OKC Orlando game and the Washington Clippers game, Wizards Clippers game. So what I would like to do today, I would like to go off of my initial strategy that kind of led into other things in me creating my DFS portfolio, cheat sheet, spreadsheet, optimizer, all that good stuff. It's basically a one-stop shop for what I like and some of the stats that I like to look at, which basically greatly diminishes the amount of time that I have to spend doing research. And from there, I just, basically touch on pieces of information here and there. So today, we're looking at point guards right now. And the top plays from the looks of it right now, we're looking at, if we was to go off of the top three, you're looking at Yogi Ferrell or JJ Barea from the Dallas Mavericks. You're looking at Russell Westbrook, and you're looking at TJ McConnell. So Barea, Westbrook, Ferrell, McConnell. So off of the DVP, we can just go ahead and plug those guys in. And by the way, if y'all don't know, I'm using RotoGrinders defense versus position. I do have another spreadsheet that I like to use. DFS Army, they have a really good spreadsheet. They give you, matter of fact, let's go to them real quick. Let's go to their spreadsheet. All right, let's go there real quick. So as I'm talking to you guys, I just got news that Robert Covington is going to be out tonight. I had him in a couple of my lines, so that's something that I definitely got to change. So if you already have a lineup out and about, make sure if you have Covington to replace him with someone else. So as this is getting all set up and everything like that, let's look at some Vegas movements. Focusing on point guards, but just to make a side, I guess you could say a side announcement, so to speak. As you can see right now, OKC is projected to score 112 points overall. Matter of fact, let's look at this. Let's see if we can change this around. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, so Clippers are projected to score 113 points. OKC 112, Boston 108, the Wizards 107. Orlando, Miami, right there in the 106, 107 range. San Antonio 106, Atlanta 105, and Philly 104. And of course, those numbers keep going down and down and down. So, but I think the two main ones you want to look at is the Clippers and OKC. In other words, with this being as high as it is, that might be a potential stacking options for you for tonight if you choose to stack in your GPPs. But as we're going on, let's see if this thing is open. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow. All right. We're looking at Russell Westbrook. His matchup tonight is it's looking pretty good. He has a decent DPP matchup. His usage is always going to be throughout the roof. Of course, he's going to be a popular play. So, don't worry. As long as you have other plays involved, value plays involved that can offset the exposure from Westbrook, then you'll still be able to, get fairly high in GPP tournaments. Okay. So we have Westbrook in. Okay, and then of course we talked about McConnell. Of course, if anyone doesn't know, Schroeder does give up a lot of points to the to point guards. As you see the other day when he played against Phoenix, Tyler Ulis ended up getting about 36, 37 fantasy points. So, anyways, TJ McConnell does have a good matchup as well. I want to see what I'm looking forward to see if there's any confirmation that his projection will be true material to the fact. And last outing they had, he scored 33.7 fantasy points. Of course, he played a good set of minutes of 37. And as you can see, every time this guy goes for over 35 minutes, he's going to get you anywhere between, say, 25 to 40 fantasy points. Okay. Anytime he's played under that amount, of course, these were around the times where there were other point guards involved in the mix until the certain trades came in. But from the looks of it, this guy has been very, very consistent. But anytime he gets over 30 minutes, you're guaranteed to get, 30 or more, at least. Okay, and at 5,500, 5.5 to 7x, I mean, you can't beat that. So his recency bias is justified. We'll keep him in there. And let's move on to the shooting guard position. We have next, the Atlanta Hawks, the Hornets, and the Knicks. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to get Nick Stauskas or Gerald Henderson, whichever one is cheapest, and then we're going to plug in DeMar DeRozan. Okay, DeRozan. And let's see, Stauskas is 36, while Henderson, okay, he's probable. So let's stick with Stauskas for right now. All right, and let's look at recency bias. He has good matchup. Anytime Stauskas, well, last time he played them, he actually averaged about 20 fantasy points. Let's take a look at that. Oops. about 25, about 20 fantasy points there, 19.7 there, and then the first couple of times they played, first round he did 12.5, and after that about 20 fantasy points. Um, anytime he's getting over 30 minutes, he's going to get you about 20 to 30 fantasy points on average. Anytime he hits over 35, somewhere between 27 and 30, 36, 39, somewhere there, roundabout average. So in his situation, he's justified. Toronto, DeMar DeRozan, his matchup was looking really good too against Charlotte. And the last time they played, let's see, DeRozan, he didn't do so well, 13.6 fantasy points. Time before that, he did 25.6. And then in the first time they played, he hit for 45.1. Of course, we're looking to see if he is somewhat justified. Out of the three outings, he only did well on one. But at this point, he's basically carrying the team on his back. He does have some support from the starting cast, but we're looking for minutes, really. We want him to be able to hit the 36-minute mark. If we can get him if he can stay within the 36 or more mark, and if Charlotte can keep this game close, then we can see these kind of numbers from him, in which he's been doing very well in the last four, last four. We're looking anywhere between 30 to 64 fantasy points. If we're looking for an average of the last five, you're looking at about 43.4 fantasy points. On my portfolio here, I have DeRozan at 42.68. Okay, so I think that's definitely someone that you definitely want to take a look at. Actually, for me, he's a lock on all formats if I was to play cash tonight, which I'm not. And so yeah, that's that for that particular position. All right. Small forwards. Like I was telling you guys, Robert Covington is out. So we just found out that Justin Anderson is going to be replacing him. He should be right around minimal salary. Let's see. All right, let's see, Anderson. Yep, minimal salary. He might be a 10x alert. And the reason I'm saying that is because whenever, let's see here, Justin Anderson, his matchup is pretty much average. But anytime this guy sees over 20 minutes, he's going to get you a decent amount of points here. And that's only if he's getting over 20 points. With Covington being out, we can see this guy maybe getting anywhere between 25 and 35 minutes or more. He might be getting the same amount of minutes that Covington is getting. He might have to share. You never know. But he is starting, and he is definitely somebody that you can plug into a GPP. And we can see what kind of numbers he'll be able to push out at 3,500. I mean, he doesn't really need much to reach value, and so if we can get 9x on him, then that'd be awesome. I do see a 10x alert on him. It's an average matchup. Bazemore's coming back in. Taurean Prince is not getting the value. He's not gonna get the value bump anymore because of Bazemore. But if they rule Bazemore out, in which they are not, then we could plug in Prince instead. But I think Justin Anderson, considering that Covington is out, is going to be definitely in play. All right. Let's see here. Next in line would be the Bucks. And so the Bucks are giving up a lot of fantasy points. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Crowder. I don't feel like Crowder's going to be highly owned tonight. I do see him under 15% or less. And at 6,100, I think he's a great play. Let's look and see what the recency bias is on him. All right, on Crowder, matchup is looking really good. Let's see how he performed against them. 35.2 fantasy points off of 38 minutes. That's if they keep it close. That's only if they keep it close. If they can't keep it close, then we're probably looking around anywhere between 25 and 30 fantasy points. That was their only outing thus far this season. Crowder at home tends to do a lot better than he does away by 0.4 fantasy points. He's had 2 days rest. It's definitely something to look at. But he's definitely someone that I would like to plug in tonight, especially with this particular defense versus position strategy. Okay. All right. Most importantly, too, you want to look at the minutes, how many minutes he's been averaging over the last 5 games. He's been averaging about 35. And then he's been averaging over 30 or more fantasy points in the last 5. So those are some cool things to look at, too. All right. So now we're going to get into our power forwards. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so right now, Sacramento Kings give up a lot of points to the power forwards. To the power forwards. So, that's going to be very interesting considering that Utah doesn't really have much of a power forward system in there. Let's see here. Trey Lyles. Yeesh. No. I mean, no. I mean, they're not even plugging him in at all. As much as I would love to have somebody from Utah in the mix, maybe Boris Diaw. Maybe we can plug in Boris Diaw. 21.6. Yeah. No. We're going to move on from that one, okay? Washington Wizards. We're looking at Wizards, and then we're looking at – so if it's Washington Wizards, then we're looking at Blake Griffin. New York Knicks, you're looking at James Johnson. So – and considering that we only have 6,300 left in our salary, we basically going to have to start going in and digging deeper. So the 2 guys that I'm looking at right now that would do us some justice, I feel, would be James Johnson and Zach Randolph. Zach Randolph simply because Marc Gasol is listed as out tonight. James Johnson, he's been pretty much consistent. He's not that much of an iffy player. Let's look at him real quick. His matchup is looking really good as well. And let's see how he fared last time he played against them. Okay, he was out that time. But anytime this guy's getting over 30 minutes, he's able to produce. He's going to get, his floor right now is somewhere between 22 to 25 fantasy points, but his ceiling, I mean, he can go as high up as, in the 40s, low 40s. So that, that's not something to dismiss. The matchup is good. The minute's going to be there. He's averaging over 31 minutes. He's in the last 5, he's averaging at least 30 fantasy points in the last 5 off the minute. So almost a point per minute production there. Definitely something that someone you can plug in there. Zach Randolph. I would like to say that Zach Randolph has been more or less on a tear since Gasol has been out for a couple of games. Let's take a look. At 6,000, at 6,000 on 25 minutes, he had 21.6 fantasy points the last outing against them, and that was it. Over the last 2 games, he's been, averaging over the last 3 games, he's been averaging over 27 minutes. And with Gasol out, his minutes have increased. His last 5 fantasy points has been 25.8. That should put him right around about 5x. But, right now, going against Indiana, I think he can get a little bit more than that. It's a low total, but I'm not going to dismiss that just because I'm not going to dismiss him because of that. His usage is up there, and I feel and the matchup on them is pretty good too. So, just to save on some salary and get ourselves situated for our center, I think that's going to be a good look. Okay, all right. Centers. All right. Philadelphia 76ers against Atlanta. We're looking at Dwight Howard. And let's see if Dwight, yep. And that makes that, man, that's beautiful right there. All right. So Dwight Howard has been on a tear lately. He's been averaging about 35 or more fantasy points over the last 2 to 3 games. And let's look at the stats to fortify what we're looking at. As you can see, I'm going between Fantasy Labs, Daily Fantasy Nerd, Roto Grinders, and then I will come back to DFS Army's cheat sheet just to look at some other plays that y'all might want to consider. Dwight Howard, DVP matchup is off the chain. There is no Jahlil Okafor tonight, and they've been putting Rashawn Holmes in the center position. And some matchups he do well, some matchups he doesn't, and usually against bigger guys. So Dwight Howard should have a feast tonight, hopefully. Hopefully. The game is close, so they're going to be able to, do their thing. But as you see over the last, over the last 5, he's been averaging well over 30 fantasy points. As long as he's getting about 32 to as long as he's getting over 32 minutes, he's giving you the production that you need for the most part. Okay. Over the last 5 in fantasy points production, he's been getting 36.6 fantasy points. Last 2 to 5, he's been averaging about 32 to 33 minutes. And, his field goal attempts have went up as well. So that's always a help. And especially if he can get onto the free throw line, he's improved a lot this year in his free throw percentage. And he's definitely somebody that you will want to plug in. All right. So, guys, that's basically it from that particular strategy. Let's look at DFS Army simulation. Let's see what we have here. Let's go to Fanduel. And guys, I actually highly recommend, DFS Army. I highly recommend Daily Fantasy Nerd, and even Roto Grinders. I mean, they have a lot of really good information. And if you're just starting out, these are some great DFS Army and Roto Grinders are definitely places where you can learn how to build your own strategy and really get some things going in the DFS world in any sport. I mean, listen, last MLB season, which I'm so excited about because I know more, I have more information now, right? And it's good information. But last season, I hit a grand prize pool for a stack, $1,000 in MLB using some of the plays that Roto Grinders have put out on some of their YouTube videos. Definitely recommend them. And I also definitely recommend DFS Army. All right. So as you can see here, Russell Westbrook is, his DVP is pretty decent. And their DVP system is a little bit different. And the reason being is because it's more weight. It's kind of like weighted. But it's really dope. I actually really like it. It just helps give me a different perspective on the type of players I should play. So, anyways, we talked about Dwight Howard, 39.57 fantasy points there. We've talked about Russell Westbrook, 63.6 right there. So right there off of Westbrook and Dwight Howard, we're looking at about 102.63 in fantasy points. I'm gonna start adding that up actually. 102, 102.63. All right, move this over here. All right, let's look at McConnell here. All right, TJ McConnell, looking at about 29.52. He's almost at a point per minute in production, which is always important. Okay, next person that we have in the mix is DeMar DeRozan. No, he's at 39.3. I had him at 42 and some change. So, all right. And, his DVP, his weighted DVP is really dope too. So, you can look at that. Let's see. Stauskas. Oops. Wrong side. Stauskas. Right around 20.4, 20.24 fantasy points. We already talked about Justin Anderson. I'm projecting him to do about, I don't want to say Robert Covington numbers, but I would say about maybe 30 fantasy points tonight. All right. You have to take my word for it. Projections, is a little bit of gut and there's a little bit of logic, and try to remove as much emotion out of it as possible. Okay, I'm looking in the wrong spot again. James Johnson and Zach Randolph. Okay. All right. Let's see, James Johnson. PvP is it's okay. I think but 26.99 fantasy points. All right, and then we got Randolph looking at 23.10. I say he's going to get us about 33 fantasy points simply because Gasol is out. Thaddeus Young he's not really that involved in the defense nor the offense, and you can see that by his price drop. So that's just something to think about as well. All right. So with that being said, I think we missed one more person. I'm so sorry. Crowder. Let's see. All right, Crowder, 28.10 fantasy points. This is their projections, mind you, okay, guys. All right. But we're looking at the DVP matchup, seeing if everything matches. A cool thing about DFS Army's spreadsheet is they show you not only projections and points and what they're looking at, but they're also looking at what's the percentage in which these guys will hit, their value. Right now, Jay Crowder has a 32% chance of hitting 5x or more. Granted, he can definitely hit 4x anytime, but that's not what we want. We want 5x. With chances of him hitting 25 fantasy points, 73%, 35% on 30. And of course, as it goes down, it gets lower and lower and lower. So, those are some things to look at. But with this particular lineup that I have right here, We are projecting this line to give us about 309 points. Um, you know, they could do more, they could do less. We don't know. Nick Stauskas can go off. Justin Anderson can go off. You know, they're really the only two punt plays that we have in the line tonight. Seems like we have a lot of Philly Atlanta game going on in here. You know, you can always change it up as you wish. Usually, what I like to do when I do my lines is I try to have exposure to the later games as well. It just seems like a lot of people choose not to wait to the last minute, to the last game to put players in. They try to get all their players and monies in now. Um, I do believe that in these two games here, the 10:30 games, there's going to be some high ownership between the two players, you know, or low ownership. I think everyone's going to be on Rudy Gobert tonight, and I don't think a lot of people are going to be on DeAndre Jordan. So that's just something to think about. All right, guys. So again, we have Russ Westbrook, T.J. McConnell, DeMar DeRozan, Nick Stauskas, Justin Anderson, Jay Crowder, James Johnson, Zach Randolph, and Dwight Howard. Okay, so that's the lineup for tonight. If y'all have any questions, hit me up on at DFS5050, or you can hit me up here on the tube. Thank you so much for checking out my lineup builder show. And I want to leave y'all with a couple more plays for you to think about. And these are I call them my match plays. This is based on the amount of points that's given up to a certain position, as well as what I have in my optimizer. Okay, so we have DeRozan, Kemba Walker, Nikola Vucevic, Kawhi Leonard, Jamal Crawford, excuse me, Ersan Ilyasova, and Dario Saric. All right, those are the plays. And y'all have a great day. Stay cashing. Remember, it's all about faith and it's all about skill. So get both. All right, peace.